Hello children, how are you all? So today we are going to discuss another new lesson, Nana. So last class we have enjoyed a poem, The Leaves and the Wind, right? So today about natural disasters and how they upside down our lives, that we can see. You know what are the natural disasters? So one of the natural, yes, so many are there, that is floods, forest fire, right? So like this, cyclones, too much of rain, cyclones, right? So today we are going to discuss about cyclone. So in the remaining subjects also, I mean especially EVS, you get how the cyclones we get it, and weather conditions changes we get, you know that. So today about the cyclone, so this is a different way we can how the cyclone changes our life. So some kind of problems how we face it, about that we can see, but not of boring this one. It is also easy and interesting one only. Okay, Nana? So let's see the lesson. So have you ever met any person who has faced the situation of any natural disaster? So have you ever met means maybe you also saw this one recent years we are getting some kind of natural disasters, floods we are getting, or else cyclone, or else earthquake. So this. So or else have you seen any kind of people who faced this kind of natural disaster? So if you ask your parents, maybe once or twice they faced this kind of situations, especially floods, especially either floods or cyclone. So this we get it, but not of real cyclone. Because of the cyclone, heavy rains and floods, some people faced it. Okay, Nana? So you have to be very careful and aware about these kinds of situations. Yes, when the cyclones happened, or else any kind of natural disasters. So we should know about it, then we can face that kind of situations somewhat bravely, so we can overcome and we can survive ourselves. Okay, now that's why. So how here what happened in this lesson we can see. So read the story about a girl and her dog who were lifted by the strong winds and reached the exact center of the cyclone. Yes, that is a cyclone, the air like the rounds. So that when we get it, so in that they struck and they reached the deep of it. So how they survived, that we can see in this lesson. Okay, Nana? So let's start the lesson. So Dorothy was an orphan. Orphan means you know, na? That is who has no parents, father and mother, who has no father and mother, those are called orphan. Okay, so Dorothy was an orphan. Dorothy is a girl name, Nana. Dorothy is an orphan who lived in the midst of the great Kansas prairies with Uncle Henry, who was a farmer, and Aunt Em, who was the farmer's wife. So who are the characters, ma? Dorothy. The characters are here. Dorothy. Dorothy is a girl name, Dorothy. And uncle name, what is her uncle name? Henry. Henry is the uncle name. And what is the uncle's wife? Aunt name? Yum. This is aunt name. Okay, Nana? So these are the characters, and one more you will get the dog. Dog name we can hear. We get that dog also. So that name they kept dog here, Toto. So the dog name Toto. So dog name is Toto. So these are the characters we have. Okay, ma. So Dorothy is an orphan. So she was living in the midst of Great Kansas. The place name is Great Kansas prairies. Prairies means large open area of green fields. Large open area of green grassland. What is this? Prairies. Prairies. So prairies. Prairies means a large open area, open area of grassland, So a large open area of grassland. So too much grass we have surrounded, open area. Of course, villages, fields means how open area with that beautiful greenery, grass, you can imagine. So that you can see. So in that place they are. With whom she was? With her uncle Henry. And that is uncle, what is he doing? He is a farmer. And what is his wife name? Yam. Aunt name is Yam. She is farmers, that is Henry's wife. Okay, Nan. So their house was a small. For the lumber to build, it had to be carried by wagon many miles. So that is for the lumber to build. So actually it is a very small house, and for the lumber means it is a timber. Logs we have na. So lumber, Lumber, lumber means nothing but like timber, wooden one. Timber or wooden one we can take it. So wood to build it had to be carried by wagon many miles. So carried by a wagon. Wagon means that is a vehicle used for transporting goods, that we call it wagon. Wagon, W-A-G-O-N. Wagon means a vehicle used for transporting goods. So for this we use this wagon. Okay, no, it's nothing but like a cart. So a transporting vehicle. So in that they can move it, that kind of house it is. There were 4 walls. So how the house is? There were 4 walls, a floor and a roof. Roof is there, and which made one room, and this room contained a rusty looking cook stove. So stoves, if you see rusty means that is iron stoves, and that became rust. Tuppu we call it, that is a rust we get it. So light brown color, reddish color. So that kind of one. So the stove is looking like that. That means old stove it is. And a cupboard for the dishes. So kitchen, how is it? You can imagine, and you can see there. So that is how the stove, and just beside that a shelf for the to keep the dishes, and a table is there. So 3 or 4 chairs and the beds. So 3 or 4 chairs are there and beds are there. So this is the total equipment we have in the room, okay, in the house. So only 4 walls there, and a roof, floor and roof is there, and that is one room is we have, that room contained stove, and some 1 or 2 shelves we have, cupboards to keep the dishes, and a table is there, 3 to 4 chairs are there, and here beds are there. The people all should sleep, beds are there. So this is the total description of the house, Nana. And Uncle Henry and Aunt M had a big bed in one corner, and Dorothy a little bed in another corner. So it's a big room, in that only one room like this. So one corner uncle and aunt, for them somewhat big bed, and another corner this Dorothy has her bed, little bed, only one girl, that's why small bed. So, and there was no garret at all, and no cellar except a small hole dug in the ground called a cyclone cellar, where the family could go in case one of those great whirlwinds arose, might enough to crush any building in its path. So there was no garret at all. There was no garret. Garret means terrace, we can take it. That is a living space at the top. So what is this one? Garret. Garret. Garret, Nana. So garret means a living space. A living space. SPACE. A living space at the top. At the top. So to go there like this, there is no place at all. Okay, ma. So that there is no garret at all and no cellar also, except a small hole. Generally no cellar. Nowadays if you see apartment cellars like this we have. But here there is no cellar, but a small hole is there. So what is that hole? That is that hole dug into the ground, dug in the ground. Why? That area is generally they get different kinds of frequently cyclones. So to protect themselves from the cyclones, they created. So when that is also called, that hole dug into the ground is called cyclone cellar also. Cyclone cellar. Why? Where the family could go in case one of those great whirlwinds arose. So whenever these cyclones happened, cyclone means the whirlwinds of air. So but that is rounding like this we get the wind. So in that it crush whatever we have, that is either houses, buildings, all. That's why to protect themselves they get into the underground cellar. Okay, so those great whirlwinds arose. So whirlwinds means the air moves very rapidly in the circular motion. Okay, so round and round they come and might enough to crush any building in its path. So the air is coming rounding round like this, it crush any building in its way. That's why, so in the building we are means that crushes us. Crush means to make it small pieces. So it crushes. That's why to protect themselves. Whenever the cyclone situation happen, immediately they get into the cyclone cellar. Okay, then like that they are going. So that's why they created this. It was reached by a trap door in the middle of the floor. It was reached by a trap door in the middle of the floor, from which a ladder led down into the small dark hole. So how can they get into that cyclone cellar? That is, a trap door is there. So they arranged the door to that, and opening that they can get into that with a ladder also. They have ladder. They kept a ladder also to get into that. And it was ladder led down into the small dark hole. So cellar means no light generally. So it's a dark hole. Okay, so this is the total house description. Now, when Dorothy stood in the doorway and looked around, she could see nothing but the great grey prairie on every side. So once when this Dorothy she stood outside in the doorway. So surrounding all the actually prairies. Prairies means with a green field, a large open area with the green fields. But these green fields became dry up, grey color. That means nothing but almost like summer, or they have no rains frequently. That kind of time we can take it. So that is completely grey prairie outside. So that green grass fields are looking completely dried one. So the sun had baked the plowed land into a grey mass with little cracks running through it. So the sun had baked the plowed land into a grey mass with little cracks running through it. So generally if there is no rain, summer season, if you see how the cracks happen on the ground, can you understand? In the fields we get it. So total fields, plants, they remove it and they leave the open ground. So at that time the ground will become cracks because of lack of water, right, Nana? So like that it looked. And so even the grass was not green, for the sun had burnt the tops of the long blades until they were the same grey color to be seen everywhere. So in the summer how these are? There is no water, and then the total green color grass will become grey color, dry up, brown color because of the hot sun. So like that the sun burnt all this, and total till it becomes gray color or red color, brown color. Up to that it continues. So the total surroundings like that. So once the house had been painted, but the sun blistered the paint and the rains washed it away, and now the house was dull and grey as everything else. So actually once the house was painted, they made the house painted, but later because of the hot sun, the total paint was fade away, blistered. So total fade away the paint. So and the rains washed it away. So generally fade away the dark colors because of the hot sun, they fade away, color remove it. So and later rains also completely washed out the rest of the color. So and now the house was dull and grey as everything else. So total surrounding fields also grey color, and this house is also looking like grey, that means pale, no life at all, no lively thing at all. So like that it looks. Okay, when Aunt M came there to live, she was a young pretty wife. The sun and wind had changed her too. So when they came to the place first, initially starting they were, yes, she is also very beautiful, young and pretty wife. She looks very beautiful. But later what happened? The surroundings became completely grey, and even her face is also changed because of the weather conditions. The sun and wind had changed her too. She also changed. They had taken the sparkle from her eyes and left them a sober grey. They had taken the red from her cheeks and lips. They were grey also. So that means they have no happiness first of all. If you are very happy means cheeks are red color and pleasant glowing face, we get it. But their happiness was taken away and their red from their cheeks also taken away. That means they were suffering from some kind of problems. So because of that, there is no happiness in their faces. If there is no happiness in our face means how it looks? Yes, completely pale, grey color. So always look somewhat sad, right, Nana? So that these faces also, Aunt M's face and even Uncle's face also like that. So, and here they had taken red from her cheeks and lips, and they were so grey also. Even lips and cheeks also became pale, grey color. So she was thin and never smiled now. So very thin she became and no smile at all because she has some kind of problems. So they were struggling a lot from the problems. So that's why no happiness at all, no smile at all on her face. And when Dorothy, who was an orphan, first came to her, Aunt M had been so shocked by the child's laughter that she would scream and press her hand upon her heart. But whenever Dorothy's merry voice reached her ears, and she still looked at the little girl with wonder that she could find anything to laugh at. So, how is it? Because they have no children, maybe that problem or any other issues, they forget to laugh also. They have no happiness at all. They forget to get the smile also on their face. Like that, aunt and uncle was leading their life. So when this Dorothy came to their life, when she came first to her, so Aunt M had been so shocked. She was shocked because after long years she was looking at this smile. So the girl, generally children means you are always chubby cheeks and cheerful face. Na? So that's why seeing that she was shocked by the child's laughter, that she would scream and press her hand upon her heart, that she would scream. So always all these years she was crying. But when she sees the girl's smile, yes, she felt somewhat in the heart, somewhat pleasant feeling. She got it, and whenever that she would scream and press her hand upon her heart whenever Dorothy's merry voice reached her ears. So whenever Dorothy's voice very clearly and happily reached, whenever this Aunt M hears this Dorothy's smiling face and hears her voice, she feels somewhat strange, or else after long time something she heard. So like that she feels, and she still looked at the little girl with wonder that she could finding anything to laugh. So even she looks at that girl, this aunt looks at that girl, something she is finding new, different, strange thing, that is a laugh. While she was laughing, yes, something different one. So that she is looking after long time, like that she feels and she looks at her, at this girl, Dorothy. So Uncle Henry never laughed. So in both of them they have some kind of problem or anything. All these days, all these years they were leading, forgetting all the happiness in their life. That's why Henry also forgot to laugh. Okay, Henry never laughed, and he worked hard from morning till night and did not know what joy was. So they have no children or any other reasons. So morning to night he was doing too much of hard work, and he forgot to laugh also, because whenever they look at each other they lost their happiness. So like that they became like machines. Okay, he was grey also, from his long beard to his rough boots, and he looked serious and solemn and rarely spoke. So from the beard to shoes, everything became grey color only, and even always he looks very serious and solemn. Solemn means sincere. Always he looks very serious, solemn. S-O-L-E-M-N. Solemn means serious. So, and very rarely he speaks also. So, very rarely he speaks. So, very serious and solemn. Sorry, solemn means sincere, not serious. Serious and sincere. Solemn means sincere. So, he is very serious and sincere always, and very limited only he speaks. Very limited only he speaks. So that kind of person, and really he speaks. So it was a Toto that made Dorothy laugh. So Dorothy is enjoying because she is a small little girl. So she is enjoying means with the Toto. Toto is, who is Toto? Yes, it's a dog. So Dorothy made a laugh, that is, and saved her from growing as grey as her other surroundings. But the remaining all the people, they are very grey, that means pale, no happiness. But still she is somewhat happy, means because she is spending the time with Toto, and with that surroundings she didn't affected, and she was enjoying herself with the Toto. And Toto was not grey, he was a little black dog with long silky hair and small black eyes that twinkled merrily on either side of his funny wee nose. So how this is, that is, this Toto is also black dog, silky hair. Yes, your pet dog is like that, means how it looks. So black dog, silky hair and black eyes. So looks so sweet. So and always it is very funny. So it twinkle merrily, twinkle its eyes merrily on either side of his funny. So wee nose. So from the nose and different actions it does, and with that they feel so happy for that. So this Dorothy and this Toto were enjoying a lot with themselves. Okay, Toto played all day long and Dorothy played with him and loved him dearly. Yes, you also know, mommy and daddy, whatever the problems they have, if you have a pet dog or else your toys means you enjoy with that. Na? So you that is whatever the parents they have problems, we don't know. Then but you enjoy yourself with your toys and with your pet dogs, no? Like that here also they are enjoying. Who are enjoying here? Toto and Dorothy, Nana. Okay. Today, however, they were not playing. But one day, what happened? They were not playing. Why? Uncle Henry sat upon the doorstep and looked anxiously at the sky, which was even grayer than usual. So, Uncle Henry sat at the doorstep and he was looking at the sky. Why? That sky was looking even grey than usual. Daily it was looking somewhat grey, but compared to regular day, today it was looking more. So that's why something is going on. That's why he was looking at anxiously. Dorothy stood at the door with Toto in her arms and she looked at the sky too. So what uncle is doing, what uncle is watching. For that, this Dorothy also looking at Uncle Henry and at the sky also. Why is he looking at there? What happened? She was looking. And Aunt M was washing the dishes. So Aunt M is doing, yes, in the kitchen she was washing the dishes. So from the far north, they heard a low wail of the wind, and Uncle Henry and Dorothy could see the long grass bird in waves from the before the coming storm. Yes, both of them at the doorstep. Na? That's why from far north, so some long distance from the north direction, they heard a low wail sound, that wind sound, cyclone sound like that. They heard it, and Uncle Henry and Dorothy could see that long grass bird in waves. So how they were bending and moving, that these people can see that also, how they move before it comes the storm. So how they are moving, they saw that one. There now came a sharp whistling in the air from the south, and they, as they turned their eyes that way, they saw a small wave in the grass coming from the direction also. See, from the north side it is coming, they were watching. All of a sudden, from the south side, another, that is a sharp whistling in the air. So sharp wind, that is a sudden sound, and heavy wind they got from the south direction also. And as they turned their heads, so till they are looking north side now, for the sound, when they turned to the south side, that way they saw a small wave in the grass coming from the direction also. So in that direction also a small wave is coming, that they saw. So suddenly Uncle Henry stood up. So both sides they are getting long waves now. So something is going on, something wrong. He stood up and then he said, "There's a cyclone coming, M," he called to his wife. So aunt is washing dishes in the kitchen. So he stood up and he called out, there is a cyclone coming. That he shouted, cried. And I'll go look after the stock. So whatever the food items, stock what we have, I'll go to see that. So then he ran toward the sheds where the cows and horses were kept. So in the sheds, the cows and horses there. So he went there to see them. Aunt M dropped her work and came to the door. One glance told her of the danger close at hand. So immediately Aunt M also stopped the cleaning of dishes and she came out. When she came out, she saw, yes, they are very close to the danger, that she observed. And immediately, "Quick, Dorothy," she screamed. She started to shout, "Quick, Dorothy, quick, should move on." So run to the cellar, run for the cellar. What is that cellar? Yes, cyclone cellar is there, na? So to protect themselves, run to the cellar. That this aunt screamed at her. So continuously she said. And Toto jumped out of Dorothy's arms and hid under the bed, and the girl started to get him. So Auntie M suggested, yes, get into the cyclone cellar. But suddenly Toto afraid of it and then jumped out from the Dorothy's hands and hid himself in under the bed. So dogs, they were afraid of it, these kind of situations. It went into the under the bed. And the girl started to get him. So the Toto is very good friend. That's why started to find it. Aunt am badly frightened, threw open the trap door in the floor and climbed down the ladder into the small dark hole. So immediately she was getting badly frightened, too much of angry she was getting, and immediately she opened that door, that is a floor, they have cellar, cyclone cellar, they have trap door. So she opened that and climbed down the ladder. So she arranged the ladder and into the small dark hole. So cyclone cellar is very small and dark hole. So she opened it. And Dorothy caught Toto at last and started to following her aunt. So aunt was very angry. Come on, we should get into the cyclone cellar. That she said. Na? That's why at last Dorothy. So Aunt M was very angry and she opened the trap door and she arranged the ladder also. Then at last this Dorothy also caught this Toto and she followed her aunt quietly. Right, ma? So now when she was halfway across the room, there came a great sound from the wind and the house shook so hard that she lost her footing and sat down suddenly upon the floor. So almost she is also getting into the cyclone cellar. But what happened? Before that only, in the halfway only, suddenly across the room. So she should go na. So one corner or some place we have this trap door. So to go to that, they have somewhat big room and should floor and roof only they have na. So while they are going on, halfway when she reached, so suddenly a great sound, big sound, loud sound from the wind she got it, and the house shook. The house shook so hard that she lost her footing. So she could not stand or walk. Suddenly she fell down, where she sat down suddenly upon the floor. So she could not stand. So that's why she sat on the floor. Then a strange thing happened. So what happened at the time? Some strange thing. Then the house whirled around 2 to 3 times and rose slowly through the air. Dorothy felt as if she were going up in a balloon. So she could not stand. That's why she sat. When she sat, suddenly the house whirled. Whirled means round and round moved. So around 2 to 3 times like this it rounded and rose slowly high. So it got up, rise high and through the air. So at that time Dorothy felt maybe she was in the balloon, and how the balloon goes up. So in the air, like that the house is going on, and she also in that. So she felt like that. So the north and south winds met where the house stood and made it the exact center of the cyclone. What happened? From the north side winds came and south side also winds came. Both met at the same, this house only. Then both winds happened, both side winds means heavy force. Then the cyclone happened at this house only. Then the house is at the center of the cyclone. The house is at the center of the cyclone. And so in the middle of a cyclone, the air was generally still, but the great pressure of the wind on every side of the house raised it higher, raised it up higher and higher until it was at the very top of the cyclone. Until it was very top of the cyclone. What happened? This is a wooden house now. So both sides the wind, heavy wind came and suddenly it lift up higher and higher. So the house lift up higher and higher, and with that pressure in the wind, and every side of the house raised higher and higher, and now the house is very top of the cyclone. So the house is in the air. So like it was, and there it remained and was carried miles and miles away as easily as you could carry a feather. So how it has taken. So the feather means how very lightweight, like that. This cyclone has taken the house like very lightweight. See this. A feather, you know, either hen or bird's feather, if you see, if you take it, it's very lightweight. We can carry it and we can throw it. The same way, both sides wind came and it lift up like the feather, lift up the house like feather. So this has happened. You couldn't imagine that. So Toto did not like it. He ran about the room, now here, now there, barking loudly. But Dorothy sat quite still on the floor and waited to see what could happen. So for that sound, Toto could not wait. So that's why do not like it. And Toto run about it. So there, here, there, like this. The Toto is running continuously from there, here, like this, and barking loudly. So that Toto cannot bear it now. That's why Toto was barking very loudly. But Dorothy, she knew. That's why she still sat quietly on the floor only without moving, and she was watching what could happen, what is going to happen. That she was waiting. She is observing the surroundings. So once the Toto got too near the open trapdoor and fell in, and at first the little girl thought she had lost him. So once the Toto got too near to the open trapdoor is open, and to open the trapdoor na, at that time suddenly the Toto is moving from there to here, here to there, like that. So while it is moving, suddenly it was fell into the trapdoor. At first the little girl thought she had lost him. Almost I lost it. So it went in means now there is no cyclone cellar. So immediately it fell down. Like that this girl thought, but soon she was one of his ears sticking up through the hole, for the strong pressure of the air was keeping him up so that he could not fall. So one side the house is in the air. So from the bottom too much of pressure of wind is there. So the girl immediately tried to catch the Toto, and it caught tightly of ear of the Toto. So that dog, and then because of the wind air pressure also, it didn't go down immediately. Then the girl Dorothy caught that Toto. So she crept to the hole, caught Toto by the ear and dragged him into the room again. So then immediately she crept. So she moved to the hole. She could not walk. That's why she crept. So she crept on to the hole and caught Toto by the ear and dragged him into the room again. Dragged means, yes, pull along forcefully. Dragged, D-R-A-G-G-E-D. Dragged means pull along forcefully. Pull along forcefully. So very forcefully she pulled that dog up. So and at last she caught it, and that is into the room again. Afterward, closing the trap door so that no more accidents could happen, because this Toto is moving there and here. That's why. So she closed the trap door. So that means no accidents may happen. So happily we can, till it can, what happened up to that we can wait here. That she thought it. Hour after hour passed away, and slowly Dorothy got over her fright, but she felt quite lonely, and the wind shrieked so loudly all about her that she nearly became deaf. But as the hours passed and nothing terrible happened, so she stopped worrying and resolved to wait calmly and see what the future would bring. So see what happened. Hour after hour passed. So some hours this cyclone continued. They are in the air only. The total house is in the air only, in the cyclone. So passed away, and slowly Dorothy got over the fright. Fright means afraid, fear. Fright means afraid, fear. F-R-I-G-H-T. Frightened means fear, na scared. Fear or scared. So she overcome her scared. So she overcome her fear, and later but she felt quite lonely because only one and Toto is there. So very lonely, and the wind shrieked so loudly. The wind shrieked. Shrieked means utterly loud. So very loud sounds. So S-H-R-I-E-K-E-D. Shrieked means utter loud. So getting loud sounds, noises. So that was getting so loudly all about her that she nearly became deaf. So at that time she became almost, because of the loud noise, loud sound, she became deaf. But as the hours passed, so like that some hours continued. Even at the time of cyclone rains means we get thunder sounds, na? Like that too much sound she got it. So because of that almost she became deaf. That kind of situation she faced. And later hours it continued, and nothing terrible happened. But later nothing happened, no dangerous one. And she stopped worrying and resolved to wait calmly. So she stopped. She sat there only and waited. Yes, what happened I can see. Like that she waited there calmly and see what the future would bring. So because of this, what my future? Let me see, let me wait. Like that she sat. At last she crawled over the swaying floor on to her bed and laid down upon it, and Toto followed and laid down beside her in spite of the swaying of the house and the waiting of the wind. So it is continuing. So they waited for some time, not much dangerous. So that's why gradually, slowly they got into they moved to the bed. Especially this Dorothy moved to the bed and she lay down the bed, and then Toto also slowly followed this and laid beside Dorothy, lay down on bed only. So and this Dorothy soon closed her eyes and fell fast asleep. Because the cyclone, it's not dangerous, it's still continuing. First she heard too many sounds, but later there is no sound and completely quiet. So for that she waited for that, and later where there are no sounds, slowly she moved to the bed and she slept. She closed her eyes and she slept, and even Toto also followed. Okay, Nana. So this is the cyclone, how it was happened, how it changes our life. Sometimes very dangerous, and sometimes first of all, if you are not afraid of it, we can survive. Okay, Nana. So here, suppose if Dorothy feels something is happened, frightened and cry means any use at all? No. So kept quiet and she overcome her fear, and then she was safe. Okay, Nana. So this is the story of cyclone here. Okay. Read the lesson 2 to 3 times, and then we can do the grammar in the next class.